Hello there, this video will explain the overall process of installing Linux on PCs and laptops. If you are interested in Linux on a PC or laptop, then you may be interested in my playlist that will cover how to install and set up a Linux desktop on PCs and laptops. There will be links, further information, and updates in the pinned comment for this video. Following the process that I will show for installing Linux will never leave you without a working system. So whatever system you do have will not be affected at any point during this install process. Also, installing Linux is a long process, so with that being said, take your time. Now for the overall install process, we first download a live ISO image. Then with the ISO file and a USB stick, we create a Debian Live USB stick that we can boot from. After that, we will change the boot order on the computer so that the computer will boot from the Debian Live USB stick. Then we will use the Debian Live USB stick to install Debian onto an SD card, and finally we will do some fixes and configurations. The hardware required for this process is a USB stick with a minimum of 8 gigs, an SD or micro SD card. I recommend 128 gigs, but it can be smaller or larger. Finally, we will also need a USB to SD or micro SD card adapter. Keep in mind that Linux can be run from an SD card for as long as you want, and you never have to run Linux from a hard drive or SSD if you don't want to. If your end goal is to install and run Linux from a hard drive or SSD, then it is still a good practice to install Linux onto an SD card first, because we can try out and test Linux before committing to it, work out any fixes, and this also guarantees that you will always have a working system. In other words, installing Linux on an SD card is like a practice run, which makes installing Linux on a hard drive or SSD easier. If you enjoyed this video, then you may be interested in the companion book to this video, Installing Linux on PCs and Laptops. And other than that, see you soon!